Hey guys, welcome to Big Loz Official. You may have seen recently that I did a list of the youngest guys ever to compete at the World's Strongest Man. Well, today we're going to take a look at the oldest. First up on our list is the incredible Mike Burke. Mike started his career as a professional strongman a bit later in life, when in 2012, at the age of 38, he won the All-American Strongman Challenge, which qualified him for a place at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Mike put in a solid performance at the Arnolds, placing 5th that year, and then went on to take a podium spot at the Giants Live show held in Melbourne, which qualified him for the 2012 World's Strongest Man contest. Mike wasn't able to make the final at his first World's Strongest Man, but he did when he came back a year later in 2013, placing 5th overall. Mike's last World's Strongest Man appearance was in 2014 at the age of 40, where he took 4th place. My most impressive memory of Mike Burke competing in Strongman was at the 2013 World's Strongest Man contest, where in the final they had an overhead medley where the guys had to lift a 110 kilo dumbbell, 120 kilo dumbbell, 170 kilo circus barbell and 180 kilo circus barbell. This was a stacked final and only 2 men managed to finish the event, one being Zadrina Sobiscus and the other Mike Burke. The Island Warrior Derek Boyer first appeared at the World's Strongest Man back in 1996, when he was a relatively young 27-year-old. Derek was a regular face at the contest until 2002, when Derek took a 5-year break from the competition. Derek was still competing nationally during this time and won Australia's Strongest Man an incredible 12 times. Derek came back to the World's Strongest Man in 2011 at the age of 42, making him one of the oldest guys to compete at Worlds. Unfortunately, Derek was unable to qualify out of his tough group, which was won by the American Derek Poundstone, and instead went on to pursue a career in acting. Derek has been a regular on the Guinness World Records show, breaking many records, including bench press for reps, yoke records, and the heaviest truck ever pulled. Born in 1937, Bill Anderson was a Highland Games champion who started competing way back in the mid-50s. Bill excelled at caber tossing and the hammer throw, and won the Scottish Highland Games Championships an incredible 16 times. Bill competed at the World's Strongest Man in 1979 when he was 42 years old. Interesting fact about Bill, he was the first ever British athlete to compete at the World's Strongest Man. Unfortunately, he was injured and forced to withdraw after only 2 events and never returned to the contest. Ilkana Misto was a sprint canoer who competed in the Summer Olympics 4 times in the 60s and 70s. After his Olympic career came to an end, Ilka transitioned into strength sports and appeared at the World's Strongest Man a total of 5 times. He managed to make the podium in the 1990 competition, placing behind John Paul Sigmarsson and O.D. Wilson. Ilka's last World's Strongest Man appearance was in 1992 when he was 48 years old. Fan favourite Nick Best started his strength career as a powerlifter. Winning both national and world titles in the mid to late 90s, Nick's first appearance at the World's Strongest Man was in 2010, when he was already 41 years old. Nick managed to make it to the final, narrowly beating one of Britain's best strongmen at the time. Nick became a familiar face at the World's Strongest Man, competing there a total of 8 times so far. His last appearance was the 2017 event when he was 48 years old. Now at 51, Nick has every intention of returning to competition, and we look forward to seeing what he can do. More recently, Nick was involved in the History Channel's Strongest Man in History, where he successfully broke the carousel lift world record. Thanks to the popularity of the show, which helped raise Nick's profile, he's been able to stop working and instead concentrate on being a full-time strongman, which is incredible for an athlete in his 50s. The infamous Mark Felix is the Benjamin Button of the strongman world. He didn't start competing until he was 37 years old, which is more commonly a retirement age for most strongmen. Mark first competed at the World's Strongest Man back in 2014 and has appeared at an incredible 14 times in total. Known for his ridiculous grip and back strength, like a fine wine, Mark gets better with age. Mark is the oldest man to qualify for the World's Strongest Man final, which he did in 2015 at the age of 49, and his most recent World's Strongest Man appearance in 2019, Mark was 53 years old. Before we get to the oldest man ever to compete in the World's Strongest Man, let's take a quick look at the oldest athletes to win the title. The Dutchman Ted van der Paar won the World's Strongest Man back in 1992, when he just turned 38 years old. It was an incredibly close battle, with just 1 point separating him from second and third place, which was held by Magnus Ver Magnusson and Jamie Reeves. Ted was also the tallest man ever to compete at the World's Strongest Man, standing an incredible 7 feet tall. The oldest athlete to have ever won the World's Strongest Man is a man who needs no introduction. Zadrina Sobiscus has won everything there is to win in strongman. In my eyes, he's the greatest of all time. Zadrina won the World's Strongest Man 4 times, was the 2-time IFSA World Champion, an 8-time winner of the Arnold Strongman Classic, and has won countless other international titles. The last time he won the World's Strongest Man was back in 2014, when he was 38 years old and 8 months. Now back to our list. The oldest athlete ever to compete at the World's Strongest Man is Oddhaugen, back in 2006 when he was 56 years old. Odd has had an incredible career in sport, competing at a high level in bodybuilding, weightlifting, track and field, American football, wrestling, powerlifting, mass wrestling, and obviously strongman. As well as competing, Odd has been heavily involved in promotion of strongman over the years and was one of the original founders of the Strongman Super Series. While 2006 was the last time we saw Odd at World's Strongest Man, his involvement in strength sports didn't end there. A master of grip, Odd has broken multiple grip records well into his 60s and is the president of Mass Wrestling USA. He also owns the training hall, which is frequented by 2019's World's Strongest Man, Martins Lisses. Do you guys know of any older strongmen that aren't on my list? Make sure you comment below, and please remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel.